The most dangerous battlefield isn't outside. It's inside your head. It's the war you lose every time your tongue outruns your mind. Warrior. Yes, I'm speaking to you. You've seen it happen. One careless word, one impulsive reply, and suddenly you've handed your enemy the very weapon they needed. We live in a digital marketplace of noise. Everyone shouting, everyone performing, everyone desperate to be seen. And yet, the more you explain, the less they respect you. The more you react, the more power you give away. Tell me, when was the last time you stayed quiet, truly quiet, while someone tried to provoke you? Do you remember the weight of that silence? That wasn't weakness. That was control. That was power. Don't worry, I'm not turning you into a monk who never speaks. Honestly, if I tried silence all day, my coffee machine would win every argument. No, this is about a different kind of silence. Not escape, not surrender, but a silence that shields you like armor. Tonight, I'll walk you through 7 moments where saying nothing is the sharpest answer of all. And the last one, it won't just show you how to use silence. It will show you how to become it. 1. When lies spread. Like wildfire. Lies don't walk. They sprint. They spread faster than truth, louder than reason, and more intoxicating than facts. They're like cheap sugar, sweet in the moment, but they rot the teeth of those who spread them. And when the whispers strike your name, it feels like a blow to the chest, poison seeping into your veins. The instinct is violent. Fight back. Defend. Prove. But here's the paradox. The harder you chase clarity, the more chaos you create. Every defense you make is oxygen to the fire. And poison? It only works if you swallow it. Lies only win if you chase them. Years ago, when I was clawing my way back from failure, a former colleague accused me of stealing clients. It was a lie, but lies don't need proof. They just need ears. Within weeks, the whispers reached my mother. Even Jonas, my closest friend, hesitated. I remember standing in Kai's old workshop, the air thick with sawdust. My fists clenched so hard my knuckles turned white. The urge to scream a defense so loud it would shatter the glass. Kai didn't rush to stop me. He just stood there, silent, then spoke a single line that cut deeper than the rumor itself. If you wrestle with shadows, you only become one. I froze, and in that silence, I realized something. I didn't need to win. I already had. So I chose silence. No statement, no explanations. I just worked, day by day, letting my actions breathe while my mouth stayed still. And what happened? The liar revealed himself. Patterns always surface. The very people who doubted me came back with quiet apologies. The truth didn't need me to fight. It only needed me to endure. Looking back, I'm glad I didn't chase down every rumor. If I had, I'd still be out there, holding press conferences in supermarket parking lots. Just me, 2 pigeons, and 1 very confused janitor. Here's how you master this moment. Stop defending. Liars don't want truth. They want your reaction. Anchor deep. When you know who you are, their story can't rewrite yours. Trust time. Lies burn hot and fast. Truth walks slow, but it never dies. Because silence is not surrender. It's self-respect. It's the ultimate power move, standing so still that their storm burns itself out. And think about it. Have you noticed how lies age badly? Like spoiled fruit, they rot in the hands of those who spread them. The people who once whispered your name eventually choke on the taste of their own poison. That's the hidden beauty of silence. It is patience sharpened into a blade. You don't chase the truth. You let time drag the liar into the light. Reflection for you. Who are you still wasting energy explaining yourself to? And what would change in your life if, starting today, you simply stopped and let your silence speak louder than every lie? 2. When betrayal cuts deep, the worst wounds don't bleed. They come from those you trust. Betrayal doesn't just sting, it rearranges the ground under your feet. One moment you're standing on solid stone, the next it feels like sand collapsing beneath you. The first impulse is always the same. Confront, demand, ask why. But betrayal is deaf. It doesn't hear your pain. It feeds on your reaction. I still remember the night I found out. A dim cafe. The bulb above me flickered, buzzing faintly. My coffee sat cold, untouched. My phone lit up with a message I should never have seen. Words that revealed my trust. Sold. Secrets I had given in confidence, traded like cheap coins for her own advantage. My chest felt hollow. My knuckles pressed into the wooden table until they turned white. The urge to storm into her house and demand an answer nearly broke me. But here's the truth. Betrayal is a mirror. The more you scream at it, the more it shows you a reflection of your own pain, not their guilt. And the more you beg for closure, the more you rip open your own wound. So I did nothing. No rage, no speeches, just silence. I walked away, not because I didn't care, but because I finally understood. Some people don't deserve the sound of your voice. And in that silence, I realized something. My calm wasn't weakness. It was power. It was the verdict. Her conscience would replay the scene far longer than my words ever could. For a moment, I drafted a 3-page speech in my head. Sharp, detailed, poetic. Then I laughed. She never even read my texts when we were friends. Why would she read my final essay? Here's how you master this moment. Accept their truth. Stop clinging to the ghost of who you thought they were. Don't waste breath. They erased your value in pencil, and pencil smudges easily. Walk away. No explanations. Silence forces the one thing betrayers fear most: reflection. Because here's the twist. Sometimes silence is strength, but sometimes silence is escape. The wisdom is knowing the difference. True silence isn't avoiding the battle. It's refusing to fight battles that have no prize. And that's why, in betrayal, you are not the one who lost. They are. They lost someone loyal, rare, real. And that loss will echo in them long after your silence has healed you. And here's what silence revealed to me. Betrayal carries its own karma. Not the kind that strikes like lightning, but the kind that returns gently, like a shadow that never leaves their side. One day, they will feel the emptiness they created, and in that stillness, they will face the echo of their own choices. You don't need to curse them. You don't need revenge. Karma teaches in ways words never could, and silence is simply how you step aside, giving space for life to finish the lesson. Reflection for you. Who still carries a piece of you through betrayal? And what would happen to your peace, your freedom, if instead of demanding answers, you let silence close that door? For good? If this truth stings but frees you, take a second to subscribe, not for me, but for the reminder that you are not alone. Every time you return here, you return stronger. 3. When insults fly like arrows. Insults are arrows carved from insecurity. They don't aim for truth, they aim for reaction. They're not meant to cut your flesh. They're meant to pierce your calm. I remember standing in a crowded hall after a promotion. The air smelled of wine and polished wood. Glasses clinked. Shoes tapped against the floor. Then a jealous colleague raised his voice so everyone could hear, "I guess they'll promote just anyone these days." Heads turned. Whispers spread like sparks. A few nervous laughs flickered at the edges of the room. For a moment, heat climbed up my neck. My tongue sharpened with a dozen comebacks, each one a razor blade ready to slice through his arrogance. But then it hit me. The moment I speak, I've stepped into his arena. And arenas built on insults are designed for you to lose. So I stayed still, looked him in the eye, gave the faintest smile, and silence. And in that silence, the room tilted. That stillness spoke louder than any words I could have said. He threw his arrow, but it clattered harmless to the ground. Everyone saw it. Everyone felt it. He had nothing left. Because the only thing more devastating than being defeated is being ignored. Honestly, if sarcasm were a business, he'd be CEO. But that night, his stock crashed straight to zero. Here's how you master this moment. Spot the bait. Insults are invitations, not truths. You don't have to RSVP. Hold your frame. A calm face speaks louder than a clever comeback. Stay indifferent. Indifference strips them of what they crave most, your reaction. Seneca once wrote, "He who provokes you becomes your master." Refuse the leash. Keep your crown. Remember this, your peace is a kingdom. Don't trade its crown for someone else's cheap words. And think of insults for what they really are. Arrows carved from rotting wood. They look sharp in the air, but the moment they strike true silence, they splinter into dust. The louder they shout, the hollower they sound. And sometimes the cruelest punishment is not your retaliation, but your indifference. Silence does not erase the arrow. It simply lets the world see where it came from. And in that pause, everyone watching knows who truly stands taller. Reflection for you. When was the last time an insult stole your calm? And what would shift in your life if insults no longer touched you? If your silence became your shield? 4. When they play the victim. Some people don't want truth. They want an audience. They don't want to be right. They want to be pitied. They twist facts, shed tears, flip the script, turning themselves into the victim and you into the villain. And the cruel part? The more you defend, the more guilty you look. The more you explain, the deeper you sink into their theater. I once worked with someone like this. Every failure came with a sob story. Every mistake found a scapegoat. Every meeting, a new tragedy. At first, I tried reason, evidence, logic. I stacked proof like bricks, thinking I was building a wall of clarity. But she wasn't building a wall. She was building a stage. One afternoon in a crowded meeting, I laid out the facts. Line by line. Hard proof. The fluorescent lights buzzed above. Chairs shifted. Eyes followed every word. She went pale, then clutched her chest, whispering through tears, "Why are you attacking me?" The room fell heavy. Someone coughed. A chair creaked. And just like that, I wasn't defending truth anymore. I was cast as the aggressor in her play. That's when it hit me. Performers don't need truth. They need applause. And every word I spoke was fuel for her script. So I stopped. No more counter-arguments, no more evidence, just silence, grounded, still. And in that silence, her mask began to crack. People noticed the pattern, the endless stories, the revolving enemies, the same tears on repeat. Her act collapsed, not because I fought it, because I refused to. Honestly, I should have brought popcorn. At least then, I'd enjoy the show I never asked to watch. Here's how you master this moment. Don't defend your side. You are not a character in their play. Stay detached. Observe without absorbing. Let their chaos stay theirs. Trust the pattern. A mask can hide once, twice, but not forever. Repetition is the ultimate truth teller. Epictetus once said, "To complain is always non-productive and never appropriate." The victim player thrives on complaint. Don't join the play. Because here's the twist. Silence doesn't just protect you, it exposes them. Silence is not weakness. It's self-respect disguised as stillness. It's the curtain drop. And nothing collapses a false performance faster than an empty stage. And really? Have you noticed? Some people rehearse their tragedies more than actors rehearse Shakespeare. Same tears, same script, same poor me monologue on repeat. If you stay and argue, you're not defending truth. You're just signing up as their unpaid supporting actor. But the moment you step back, the theater goes quiet. No audience, no applause, just them standing alone on a stage built from their own drama. Honestly, I should have sold tickets. At least then I'd earn something from the show I never auditioned for. Reflection for you. Who in your life keeps casting you as the villain in their story? And what peace would return to you if you stepped off their stage? For good? My friend, how many battles in your life were lost? Not because you were weak, but because you explained too much. Every word you threw was gasoline on their fire. Every defense became the rope they used to pull you down. And silence? It was the victory you never claimed. If silence has ever saved you once, share this message forward, because someone you love might need this shield today. Your voice may protect one, but your silence here protects thousands. 5. When your value is ignored. The greatest insult isn't what they say to you. It's what they stop noticing. You give. You show up. You carry conversations like heavy bags, hoping someone will see the weight. And in return, silence, indifference, disinterest. Not betrayal, not explosions. Just the slow erosion of your worth in their eyes. I remember a friend back in college, Daniel. I thought he was my closest friend. I thought we had something rare. I'd text him long messages, sharing victories, secrets, stupid jokes. And his replies? One word. Cool. Yeah. Okay. I told myself he was busy. I excused his silence. But I kept pushing, checking in, inviting him out, carrying the friendship on my shoulders like a man dragging dead weight. 1 week I went quiet, just to see what would happen. No calls, no texts. I thought maybe he'd notice, maybe he'd reach out. But Daniel stayed silent too. A week became 2. 2 became a month. Nothing. The friendship died. Not with a fight, but with a shrug. For a long time I blamed him. I thought, what kind of friend just disappears like that? How heartless do you have to be to not even ask if I'm okay? But later, this is the part that stung. I realized the truth. Daniel hadn't betrayed me. He hadn't abandoned me. He simply never felt the friendship I imagined we had. He never once said I was his best friend. He never promised loyalty, the story of closeness, the illusion of brotherhood. That was my creation. The disappointment wasn't his fault. It was mine, for painting colors onto a canvas he never touched. That's the cruel mercy of silence. It reveals what words can hide. It doesn't just expose others. It exposes you and the illusions you cling to. So I stopped. No speeches, no accusations, just absence. And in that absence, the truth sharpened itself. The rare friends stayed. The others faded. And I finally learned that neglect is not always betrayal. Sometimes it's just reality catching up to your illusions. Silence doesn't punish. It clarifies. And maybe that's karma too. Not a hammer falling from the sky, but a mirror quietly showing you the truth you didn't want to see. Here's how you master this moment. Stop chasing. If your value isn't seen when you're present, let your absence do the talking. Say nothing. Silence forces awareness. It turns convenience into realization. Observe who makes the effort. The people who matter won't need reminders. They'll move toward you. Absence doesn't change them. It reveals them. And in that revelation, it changes you. Reflection for you. Who in your life are you still writing stories about? Stories of loyalty, of closeness, that only exist in your head. And what freedom would you feel if you put down the pen, stopped chasing shadows, and let silence write the truth instead? 6. When they provoke you. Some people don't seek truth. They seek buttons. They poke, prod, and press, hoping you'll break because your reaction is their proof of power. I once worked with a man like this. Every meeting, every single one, he slipped in a sarcastic jab, a polished insult wrapped in a smile. At first, I defended myself. I explained, justified, corrected. And every time I walked out feeling smaller, like he had carved pieces out of me with nothing but words. One afternoon, he leaned back in his chair, smirked, and dropped another line. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Pens tapped. Papers shuffled. A shoe clicked against the floor. I felt the heat climb my chest, my tongue sharpen with comebacks, each one a blade forged from frustration. For a split second, I wanted to strike. Then it hit me. This wasn't conversation. It was bait. So I stopped, met his eyes, a faint nod, and silence. And in that silence, something cracked. His smirk wavered. His script collapsed. He was an actor, but without my reaction, there was no stage. The room felt it, and the game ended, not with my fire, but with my stillness. Honestly, I think I ruined his day. He came looking for a pay-per-view fight, and all he got was me sipping water like holy wine. Half the room probably thought I was meditating. Here's how you master this moment. Spot the pattern. If it happens often, it's not random, it's strategy. Hold your frame. Breathe steady. Face calm. Don't let their bait pull you off center. Use calm as your weapon. Stillness frustrates more than fury. Silence is a storm they cannot answer. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That is provocation's antidote. They can spark, but only you decide whether there will be fire. Because here's the paradox. Sometimes silence isn't retreat. It's domination. The strongest man in the room isn't the one who fights back. It's the one who cannot be moved. His silence isn't emptiness. It's armor. And picture this: a storm pounding against a mountain. The wind screams, the rain claws, the lightning shouts for attention. Yet the mountain does not move. That's what your silence is. Not weakness, not surrender, but the stillness that makes their chaos look small. And sometimes, the most devastating answer is not thunder, but calm. A pause so heavy, it drowns out every noise in the room. That's when they realize they never had power over you at all. Reflection for you. Who has been pulling your strings with provocation? And what peace, what freedom would return if you finally cut the strings by refusing to dance when they play their tune? 7. When regret knocks back. Regret has a cruel rhythm. It doesn't arrive when you give, when you love, when you sacrifice. It waits until the door is already closed, until you're staring at silence that will never answer back. For me, that rhythm carried the name Mara. She left without a fight. No storm, no shouting, just absence, sharp and final. One day she was there, the next day she was gone. At first, I told myself she'd come back. I checked my phone, waiting for her name to light the screen. Days became weeks, months, and the silence. It grew heavier than any argument could have been. That's when regret came knocking inside me. Not hers, mine. I regretted the moments I was distracted when she was speaking. The times I assumed she'd always be there. The way I took her loyalty as permanent. By the time I noticed the value of her presence, she had already given me her absence. And regret. It doesn't bargain. It doesn't negotiate. It just sits inside you, replaying the same scenes over and over like punishment without parole. I remember once, in the middle of that silence, I caught myself scrolling through old messages, reading my own words, line after line. And I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it hit me. The most painful conversation I ever had with Mara was the one I was having alone, in my head. Here's how you master this moment. Accept the loss. Regret is heavy because it chains you to what's already gone. Stop rewriting the past. You can't edit old chapters. You can only write the next page. Turn silence into a teacher. Let it remind you, love is not permanent. Value people while they're still within reach. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And part of mastery is this: to stop kneeling at the altar of regret, to carry its weight once and then put it down. Remember this: silence won't always give you closure. Sometimes it only gives you yourself. And if you can face that, if you can rebuild from what's gone, then regret no longer owns you. Because regret itself is karma, not punishment, but reminder. A gentle voice that says, "Do not sleep through the gift of presence again." And maybe that's the hidden mercy of silence. It turns regret into a teacher, not a jailer. It doesn't chain you to the past. It guides you forward, carving you into someone who treasures every soul, every moment, while they are still here. So when regret knocks again, don't run, don't hide. Open the door, listen once, and then let it leave. Because life's karma is not only about what returns to hurt you, it's also about what returns to heal you, if you're ready to listen. Reflection for you. What love, what friendship have you only valued after it disappeared? And what strength would grow in you if, instead of drowning in regret, you let it carve you into someone who will never take presence for granted again? The final weight of silence. So here we are, 7 moments, 7 battles, 7 times when silence wasn't weakness, but strength. When lies came, silence guarded your dignity. When betrayal struck, silence preserved your soul. When insults flew, silence turned into a shield. When they played the victim, silence brought the curtain down. When your worth was ignored, silence revealed the truth. When provocation pressed, silence held the line. And when regret knocked back, silence gave you the one thing you had forgotten: yourself. If these 7 silences awakened something in you, leave a comment with the one silence you'll practice starting today. Your story may be the spark for another warrior's freedom. And maybe this is what karma truly is: not thunder, not punishment, not fear, but the quiet balance that life always restores. Lies collapse on their own. Betrayal circles back as loneliness. Insults echo back to their sender. And for those who choose integrity, patience, and calm, karma returns as loyalty, clarity, and peace. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of command. It is armor against manipulation, a mirror for truth, the stage where karma delivers its lines without your rehearsal. But here's the paradox: Silence isn't always easy. It burns, it isolates. Sometimes it forces you to sit with regrets you'd rather outrun. Yet this is its hidden gift. Because silence, if you endure it, doesn't just protect you. It remakes you. Silence is the battlefield after the war. The stillness where the smoke clears, the noise fades, and the survivor stands taller. A man who masters his silence doesn't just master freedom, he becomes freedom. So the next time chaos comes knocking, when lies spread, when betrayal stings, when provocation rises, when regret claws at your door, don't answer with noise. Don't answer with desperation. Answer with silence. And let that silence echo louder than every defense, every plea, every scream could ever reach. Because silence isn't emptiness. Silence is armor. Silence is strategy. Silence is rebirth. And silence is you. Unshakable, untouchable, and unforgettable.